Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we are doing the top 5, my top 5 West End experiences. I'm not doing musicals that I've seen, I'm doing experiences. So times that I've felt like, oh, this was such a good experience. I came out buzzing from this show. I've got all the programs here that I'm going to be showing you. So I'm ranking them not on how much I liked the show, but how I felt on the inside, how I felt that the actors done, what I came out of the show feeling like. So, coming in at number 5, we have Wicked! This was an amazing show. The hype for this show, for me, was insane. Because I studied Defying Gravity for Music GCSE. And I was like, I have to see this show, I have to see this show, I have to see it. There was a bit of a story behind this, because I was supposed to be seeing the tour when it was out on tour in, when did I go see it, 2018? There was a tour in 2018, but it snowed really bad the month we were going to see it. I think it was supposed to be in Bristol, so they cancelled the show that night, so we booked to see it in the West End. And we were in the dress circle, so I was just looking at what seats we were in. We were in the dress circle above the stalls, and the seats we were in. I don't think I've, felt so far away from a show, but had such a great view. And especially when it came to Defying Gravity, I kid you not, my face was, for the whole 5 minutes. I came out of the show absolutely buzzing. This was a show I was so desperate to see, and I really enjoyed it. The actress who played Elphaba for us was none other than Alice Funn. She's currently in Come From Away, when the West End comes back, and we had Sophie Evans as Glinda, or Linda, or Linda, and Melanie LeBarry. I can't really say her name, but she's currently in Aunt Julia, and we saw her not that long ago. Yeah, so this show, 100% would recommend. If you love a classic musical that's going to really, entertain you, there's magic, definitely recommend Wicked. Coming in at number 4, a relatively new musical to the West End, Dear Evan Hansen. Now, I listened to the soundtrack on repeat for a long time. When it came out, I was obsessed with the soundtrack, and especially Ben Platt singing, because who doesn't love Ben Platt singing? This show, if you don't know what this show is about, it's about a guy called Evan Hansen who's got severe social anxiety, who writes letters to himself as pep talks, and this guy, Connor Murphy, has a sister called Zoe Murphy who Evan fancies. It's a bit complicated. Connor eventually kills himself and ends up with one of Evan's letters, and his parents misread that thinking that they were friends. Evan lies and is like, yeah, we were friends, I can show you more emails. Gets bigger and bigger and bigger, eventually goes out with Zoe, blah blah blah. Things happen, and you cry and you cry. I came out of the show oh my goodness, I just seen Dear Evan Hansen, whoa. Went into the show knowing that I was going to cry, and I did. It got to Words Fail, which is probably the climax of the show. I was like, no, I'm going. I think for me the best part of this was seeing all the set and sound design, because the actors did an amazing job, but I think the design elements that went into the show really heightened the experience. Looks like I'm Evan. Jokes. I'm not. I wish. But I came out of the show being like, oh, I've seen it. I've finally seen it. So I would definitely recommend that. Hasn't been on the West End for long, but I'm pretty sure it's a limited run. It has extended, but I think another show is going in. Number 3, Aunt Julia. We were fortunate and unfortunate at the same time. When we went to see it, we got to see a concert version of the show because they were down 4 or 5 actors, so they couldn't do the entire show. I think 2 of the leads were on holiday and the rest were ill. So we got a concert version, which was really unique, and it was a lot of fun. I knew this show was going to be good going into it, but I came out of it really, like, hyper, and I was like, oh, and Juliet, and Juliet, and Juliet. Even though we didn't get a lot of story, it was mostly the songs. We got some bits of story. There was a bit of acting, so we kind of understood what was going on. I think this is one of the shows I didn't know a lot about the story until I went to see it. But I can definitely see why it's won so many awards for costume design, set design, best actor, best actress. It is a great show. If you love a jukebox musical and you like Shakespeare, go and see this show. It's fresh, it's new, it's something I haven't seen before, especially with the jukebox musical. Like, say, like, take Mamma Mia, everyone knows Mamma Mia, but this is, like, a different level. Would really, really recommend this. Number 2, bit of a cliche, but this show. Hamilton. Wow. Even just saying that I've seen Hamilton, I feel privileged. Hamilton is one of those shows that, until you see it, all you've got is the soundtrack. They really don't want, like, videos of, like, people filming videos or bootlegs. They really don't. It's one of those shows that you have to see it, and it really does live up to the hype. I went to see it with my sister for her birthday. Thank you, Alex, if you're watching this. I love you. I was trying to figure out how they would stage it, because I hadn't seen any videos, or not a lot. I'd seen some images on their Instagram, but all I really knew was the songs, which is basically what the show is, until you put the staging and the dancing into it. But this really, really does live up to the hype so much. We were lucky enough to have the new cast. I think they'd just done the first day or 2 days, and we went to see them, and I was just blown away. I came out of that show being like, I've witnessed something amazing. Like, everyone in that theatre, like, even the people backstage and the lighting and sound crew, they are all so talented. That show looks like it would be so difficult and technical to run. And all of them, you can just tell that how much work has gone into the show. So if you have not seen Hamilton and you have the money, because it is expensive, because it's so popular, ticket prices are like, I haven't seen ticket prices for any other show as expensive as this. But if you can, see it, because it's so good. If you love the soundtrack, you will not be disappointed. And coming in at number 1, this show will always have a place in my heart. Anyone who knows me knows I am a massive Harry Potter fan. As you can tell, I have the glasses as well. But I went into this show thinking, oh, it's Harry Potter, but I came out the show thinking, okay, I didn't love it because it was Harry Potter, I loved it because it was a great piece of theatre, and that is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. This show is beyond phenomenal. Like, it's amazing. Like, oh, sorry, I keep saying like a lot. It's not a musical. I wouldn't class it as a musical. I think it's a play. I think it won an award for best play. But there is music in it, and they have released the soundtrack to it. There's not a lot of singing, but there are some dancey, choreographed movement sections, a lot of magic. And when I say magic, I genuinely couldn't figure out how they did it, like what they were doing. I was like, how are they going to do that? I was a bit annoyed that I read the script first, because then it didn't ruin it, but I knew what was going to happen at the end of part 1, because if you don't know a lot about the show, there's 2 parts. So you have part 1 and part 2. The whole show is like almost 6 hours, I'm pretty sure. I think it's 5 hours and a half, or 5 hours 40. So you're in there a long time. But the way it works is you see part 1 first. So I saw it all in one day. You can see it, have the option to see it on 2 consecutive days, but I would personally recommend seeing it in one day. Like, if you haven't read the script, which most people probably have by now, I'm not going to give away what happens, but if you haven't read it, part 1 will shock you at the end. Like, something happens that's so big and you're like, wait, how, what is going on right now? But when I say the cast and crew really have a difficult time with this show, they have a difficult time because there's so much going on. And I went in, I was like, oh, cool, Harry Potter's happening. I'm watching Harry Potter live on stage. But as the story progressed and we got to the interval of part 1, I was like, oh, this is good theatre. Because it wasn't your typical Harry Potter. It's because he's all grown up and it's all about his children, really. I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then part 1 ended and I was like, sorry, what did I just witness? Harry Potter has got dark over the years, but I was like genuinely terrified at the end of part 1. I was like, I came out of the theatre going, oh my goodness, what? And I think it's one of those shows that once you see it, you will not forget it. There's so much that goes on in that show, it's imprinted in your brain. And every time I listen to the soundtrack now, I get to the last song and I can't help but be like, oh, I'm emotional now. Because you get such a massive emotional roller coaster on this. One bit you're like, oh, this is so good, and then you're like, oh no, I'm really sad, and then you're like, ah, terrified. But okay, so this is the thing. Ticket prices for this show, where I was sat, which was the balcony, it was £20 per part, per person. So to see both parts just for me is £40. So it's one of those shows where if you want to see it, I would sit in the balcony. You still get a decent view. You can see what's going on. I didn't have to lean over because I was in row C, which is the 3rd row. But it is a huge theatre. It's ginormous. I would have seen it in one of the circles. I would have chosen to. I wouldn't have sat in the stalls because from where I was sat, it looked like you would be looking up a lot of the time. You wouldn't be able to see a lot what was going on. But if you want a good experience for Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, I would sit either in the grand circle or the balcony because they like to break the 4th wall and use the audience. Things happen in the audience. I'm not going to say what, but if you want to experience that, if you want that sensory bit, I would sit there. That has been my top 5. Can't show Hamilton. I was hoping that was going to really plan out, but you can kind of see Hamilton now. It's just here. Obviously, if you guys have seen a show that you've absolutely loved and came out buzzing about and you think it really lives up to the hype, let me know. Make a comment down below. Until next time, guys, I've been Kieran. You have been you. We all love musicals in this world. Thank you, and I'll see you later.